In this video, I attempt to escape the biggest city in Project Zomboid. Louisville is a city located in the top right of the map, and it is gigantic. Overflowing with tons of zombies, experienced players often steer clear from roaming in this dangerous area. In this challenge, I will be doing what most players don't, spawning right in the heart of Louisville. To prevent things from being laughably easy, I've restricted myself from being able to drive cars. And if I'm somehow able to bypass the massive hordes of zombies roaming the streets, I'll begin making my way towards my ultimate goal. A restaurant located on the outskirts of the city by the name of Spiffos. If you're wondering why I chose Spiffos specifically, it's because their mascot is a small, adorable little raccoon, and if you don't like that, feel free to complain about it in the comments below. Today, I will be playing as Rock Boulder. Rock was unfortunate enough to be unemployed and only in his underwear when the apocalypse began. Rock does have one thing going on for him though. This stunning hairstyle. I started this run in an abandoned gas station. With no zombies around, I immediately started chugging this 2-liter of orange soda. I began to realize that while this gas station was full of food and bandages, there were no weapons in the vicinity. No weapons means certain death in Louisville. So after looting some clothing, I left. I didn't really have a plan for this run. I was just winging it the whole time. Shoeless and weaponless, I scurried into the restaurant next door. Nothing of importance here. I did find a yummy snack though.
I'm having this as a yummy snack.
Soon, I was greeted with trouble. At first look, I thought it was just one zombie. It turned out to be a group. I ran to the nearest fence and jumped over. Making my way to the other side of the building, I killed my first zombie and acquired a snazzy new pair of purple shoes. Securing these shoes means I don't have to worry about cutting up my feet on anything. Eventually, I made it to some apartments. It was here I was able to acquire my first weapon, a kitchen knife. This was great. Kitchen knives are one of the better early game weapons because unlike blunt weapons, I don't get exhausted using them. Also, I looted a leather jacket and a pipe wrench here. I drank another entire 2-liter of soda and continued looting houses. Now this run was going pretty well. I was making progress towards my location and killing some zombies along the way. Hopeful for the future and armed with a crowbar I got from one of the houses I looted, I kept running.
Listen,
and running.
Everyone's been asking me if I'm okay.
Until I reached a small tool shed. Finding this shed was huge. I was able to secure a few other useful items. When I left the shed, I decided to venture into the forest. Eventually, I made it to a fence and took out a few more zombies. It was here I realized if I don't find shelter soon, I would be dead. So I jumped to the nearest window and scurried inside. Then I ventured into the kitchen and just barely managed to take out the zombie. After sweeping the house, I realized how bad off I actually was. I was exhausted, tired, and in pain. I was also queasy. Definitely not from all the soda I'd taken in. I turned on some Life and Living to try to get my boredom down and took some painkillers, eventually drifting off to sleep. I didn't end up sleeping through the night, and when daylight came, I decided if I was going to make it to my location, I needed to move now. Still far away from Spiffos, I ventured on, licking my wounds from the day prior. Looking back now, this was a horrible idea. Exhaustion makes you slow and ultimately unable to fend off more than one zombie at a time. I was running and fighting my way to the next row of houses. Bloody and exhausted, I jumped this fence. This alerted a zombie, and I thought I could just take it on because there was only one of them until more came. I was overrun and ended up succumbing to the horde. Now, while I had learned a lot from that run, Rock Stone, one of the sons of Rock Boulder, had his own ideas. I started off this run in a toy store. Probably one of the worst spawns by far. I somehow managed to find a watch and a rake. When I used the rake on the first zombie I saw, it broke. Eventually, I got to a fence and jumped over, immediately running into a horde. In an effort to escape, I ran down an alley and immediately got cut off. I tried to run the other way. No, and got killed. Enter Rock Boulder II. Still unemployed, but he ends up dyeing his mohawk and beard some funny colors, ultimately granting him plot armor. I started off this run in a hair salon. Immediately, I dyed my hair strawberry blonde. I didn't really have any hope for this run until I went to the bathroom and found some bandages. Things were looking up, and when I entered the break room, it got even better. I got to dye my beard green. After looking around more, I was able to retrieve a kitchen knife, a hammer, and some much needed food. Shortly after, I exited the building and realized I was next to a motel. Things were looking good for me. I acquired some clothes off a zombie, then explored some rooms. I didn't find anything inside, but I did find a zombie with a honey knife on his hip outside. This was a great find, and it has some cool kill animations too. Learning from my last run, my goal this run was to simply go to less populated areas, or in other words, play like a complete pussy. I still have quite a long way to go to make it to my destination. After narrowly escaping a horde, I jumped the fences and ended up in a house. It was here I realized I had a laceration on my hand. I patched myself up and moved on. Eventually, I found my way into an upstairs bedroom, then fell asleep. When morning came, I headed off into the streets in search of better things. Soon, I killed a zombie and took the satchel off his body. I decided to jump a fence. Then I heard banging of a zombie outside the gate. It turned out to be 2 zombies. I didn't want to fight them in such an enclosed area, so in an effort to escape, I tried to jump the fence. This was a deadly mistake. Rock was bitten. When you're bit in Project Zomboid, it only gives you 2 to 3 days before you turn. All of my plans were thrown out the window because this puts a time constraint on this run. I had to get the spiffos ASAP, or I would never see that tiny raccoon. It was doable, but I had to hurry. I healed myself up and moved on. Eventually, I encountered a small group of zombies. I was in pain, so I couldn't fight more than 1 zombie, so I left. I needed to find shelter soon. I jumped a few fences and got lucky. After grabbing some wine, I looted the downstairs and headed up in search of a bed. I could hear banging on the doors, so I cautiously took out the zombies inside. Eventually, I settled into a bedroom and noticed I was very tired. Likely because I didn't sleep all the night before. It had only been a few hours since I left the first house, and Rock was a mess. The only thing left for me to do was sleep. After a well-deserved nap, I awoke in the night. Unable to go back to sleep, I decided to go to the next townhouse. I realized my bandages were dirty, so I changed them quickly and continued looting. Eventually, I got back to sleep in an effort to burn time till morning. Morning came and I headed out. I did a lot of running today. I needed to get the spiffos before I zombified. Kicking it into high gear, I followed some train tracks. Eventually, I was forced into a house. Tired and nauseous. This could mean I was going to turn soon. I decided to quickly loot the neighboring house and hope I didn't turn in the night. Luckily, I survived and ate some pickles in celebration. I was not far from my destination now, so I ran. Ran like my life depended on it. And then I saw it, the hospital. I was close. I evaded the horde in the forest and then finally came up behind Spiffos. Finally, salvation. Though Rock was here, it was bittersweet. He had done what his father and brother could not. This long trek across Louisville. A trek full of blood, sweat, and orange soda. Rock had just about every debuff, and he would soon be a zombie. So he decided to fight until the hordes took him. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, make sure you subscribe so I can get out of the hood.